Past 8, Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
Let's dissect the issues of the day with T-Radar via live Skype video today. T-Radar, come on in.
Well, good morning to you. I trust you survived your Easter and Anzac holidays, merged into one as they were, forcing you to cram more of your vacation time into a single day.
Yeah, well, exactly. Though in Australia they managed to work it out. I don't know how the process of them getting that extra day seemed to pass us by without us jumping on the bandwagon at the same time.
Well, I guess, you could look at it and say, well, that's our productivity sort of advantage against Australia. Not only do we have our lower wages, which makes us more competitive, we have less public holidays as well. And when the public holidays do fall on the same day, we manage as a society, as an economy, to simply keep them confined to that single day rather than squandering a good day's production to try to have us climb up the economic ladder to be a little bit more like our larger cousins overseas.
You know, it's looking more and more tempting just to be that extra state of Australia. At least adopt the currency. I mean, look, what are they now? 4 cents over the American dollar?
Yeah, something like that, although I suppose the exporters then would probably have conniptions and, as an exporting nation, there we are. And the argument would be, who would we have on our money? Would we have the Australian currency but with our people on it? Because, culturally, you look at our money and it's part of who we are.
Look.
As you pass over the Natas and the Hillarys.
I've got no problem with Gillard being on our money. Would you like to see a picture of Gillard?
I don't know. There could be a wonderful sort of note with the sort of wonderful women leaders of the past. There'd be Shipley, Clark, and Gillard, a sort of a threesome of lady leaders on a. I don't know, what note would they have? Hillary's got the 5. I don't want to replace him.
Yeah.
Who's on the 10? I don't know.
I can't remember.
It shows you how much attention we pay to money.
Well, I never have a tenner in my pocket. Most I have is a $5 note.
And the great thing, the 5s always make you feel quite slightly flush. You pull out a big ream of the 5s and you think, all right, peel a few of those off. There we go.
Remember old Brash, of course, he used to have his signature all over our money all the time. And then, of course, that little foray into politics didn't quite work out, but now he wants to make some kind of comeback?
Yes, look, John Brash, there he is. And at Easter, here, at Anzac Day, as we celebrate sort of great sacrifice, here is Don Brash coming out in this sort of bitter political battle with Rodney Hyde and the ACT Party. And they're on the front of the Herald today. I don't know if it's the front. I only really look at it online. A wonderful headline, "Let me lead or I'll bleed you dry," Brash tells ACT.
Like a vampire?
Like a vampire. Well, he is in his sort of early 70s and sort of oddly fit and feisty. So, I'll let people make up their own minds as to whether he's one of the undead. I'm sure there's those who would argue that, he's one of the economically undead, along with sort of Roger Douglas, who apparently big fan of him. And I think of Roger Douglas, I think they want Hillary Calvert and someone else, and then he's got the numbers to lead. But essentially what's happening is, they've come out and they've said, look, Rodney Hyde has totally damaged his own brand. His credibility is shot. He may or may not win Epsom. And Don Brash is coming in and saying, look, if I come in, I'll bring in all of this money. I'll reinvigorate the party. They were talking about either Brash or John Banks running in Epsom because they, polling may suggest they're higher. And if you don't take me on, then I'm going to take all of my toys and all of my money and all of the sponsors and support that you would normally have for ACT. We'll set up our own party. We'll take our toys and we'll play with them in our own cot.
Now, the cynic in me and the conspiracy theorist in me says that this is kind of a little plan that the national sort of the very right and national have got with Don Brash and maybe even John Key included in there, that this is a way of including the policies that Brash wanted to introduce back in 2005 is the way of bringing them through a coalition arrangement between National and ACT or whatever party that Don Brash sets up.
The Machiavellian machinations of, New Zealand political parties.
Yeah.
Yes, there is that. There's others that sort of say that, they haven't really spoken to Brash for some period of time and, for a couple of years he's sort of been on the outer. But as you say, did have that sort of economic policy report that wanted to bring us closer to Australia by doing all kinds of things that people found slightly distasteful. So yes, I guess entirely possible. I can't imagine the coalition because it's going to be fascinating. We're leading into that right up to the election. Hone Harawira is, I think, this weekend about to announce his new party, despite the fact that he signed a treaty with the Maori Party saying he wasn't going to contest the seats. He was only going to run Titai. What's the northern seat? Is it Titai Tokerau? I can't even remember. God, shame on me. Northern Maori. I don't know what it is. God, I sound like an act member, don't I? Northern Maori. He's running for Northern Maori. So it's going to be interesting. What's that going to do to the Maori party? You know, if it's a more left-leaning Hone Harawira-led party that gets in, as opposed to sort of a slightly more right-leaning Maori party, and you've got Don Brash there with his sort of party. Interesting times. Will Labour manage to sort of slip through with... Who do they have? What's Jim Anderson doing? He's gone, isn't he? He's leaving.
No.
He's in his 70s.
No, he's still going to be there because he was going to be running. Well, he did run for the Mayoralty in Christchurch. That didn't work out.
Talk about the undead, the political undead. He just sort of never leaves, does he? And also, God, you know, Peter Dunn, he's still there. Yeah. So it's who knows what'll happen?
Who knows? But I tell you what, a lot of these people have the fighting spirit. Don Brash is the fighting spirit, and I suppose that's what Tiki has in common with these people, the fighting spirit.
He does, Tiki Tane out there. You know, we talked about him a few weeks ago in trouble for his little sort of song about the police. He's now putting out, for charity, some Love the Police T-shirts, and a sort of delightful irony. So people can go and buy those, and I'm not sure what the charity is. It says the proceeds of the shirt will go to charity, whatever that charity may be. It's probably, who knows. So if you want to sort of support whatever the charity is, have a check it. I guess it's probably on Tikitane's website, and you can have a look at it there. No escaping though for him from the long arm of justice. He's there. He's not tunnelling his way out of any sort of incarceration unit. Oh, I see the segue there. Yes, the great escape, the great Taliban escape. The great escape. Look, it happened a couple of years ago. The Taliban in Afghanistan, in Kabul, they were at a fairly large jail. I imagine conditions fairly sort of inhumane at the best of times. And over the weekend, 450 of them managed to escape through a tunnel. Which is a pretty... Have you ever seen, prisoner of war movies where they dig tunnels? I read a lot about them. Quite a thing to dig a tunnel. Oh, yeah. And then to have 450 or 470 escape in a single weekend. That is an enormous number of folk running free. It's the whole walk out into the recreation yard, shake out the dirt from your jeans, you know. It's really absolutely using bits of your bunk bed to shore up the walls of the tunnel. Tiny little what are they? Little sort of rail car units on wooden wheels up and down rails, and air supply. You've got to make some kind of rudimentary billows to pump air down into the tunnel. All of that, I'm assuming, was probably going on. Crikey! But then you crawl through mud and sewerage, and then you pop out a pipe at the other end, and it's raining, and then you look into the sky with your arms outstretched. I think that was something else. That's a exception. Yeah, yes, that's a lovely Christmas Day movie. But no, so goodness only knows where they are. I suspect there must have been quite a lot of outside help there, because I guess part of the thing is when you're let's call them prisoners of war. I use that in the loosest possible sense. Is generally you're sort of in an enemy occupied territory, but here the entire territory is oddly contested between what are labelled insurgents and those of the great forces fighting for freedom and liberty. Yeah. So I'm sure they had a bit of help outside. So perhaps the tunnel came in from outside rather than coming in specifically from the inside. Yes. How would they have met up? That's a good... Gosh, I don't know. I think it's... so many complexities to this story. Yeah, it'll make a great movie. But certainly no freedom for the Easter Bunny over the weekend. No, they may well have hidden in their own personally dug tunnels, but it wasn't enough to stop 22,904 of them being exterminated in the traditional Easter Bunny hunt. They say that the rabbit numbers down in central Otago are at a sort of a 10 or a 20-year high. They're bouncing back. There's been good feed. The various viruses that have run rampant through them have gone. So, yes, the winning team, I think, took 1,664 of them from a Luggett farm. You think about that, that's 22,000 rabbits from an area like that. It's unfeasibly large number. Yeah. And of course, Hans Creek from SAFE, the animal welfare group, is totally miffed by the entire thing. We can't really come out and go, it's fair. So normal sort of thing, but I would imagine probably a good time had by most, bar the 22,000 bunnies, the pigs, hares, stoats, ferrets, turkeys, and a single goat that were... Whatever to the goat? I was looking for a word. Yeah, there was a goat. Just one. Yeah. Oh, so was it mistaken? Was it mistaken for a bunny? So I guess it could have been mistaken for a bunny. So I guess that does clear the field then for the remaining rabbits to have even more to eat and continue to breed even more prolifically. There's not much you can do about them. Terrible state of affairs.
That's true, and we'll wait another year for the Easter Bunny hunt. Thanks very much, T Raider.
We'll speak again next week.